sorry for your sake. You see, I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately. No, no, no. I play with wonderful expression. As far as the piano is concerned, sentiment is my forte. I leave science for life. Yes, sir. By the way, do you have the cucumber sandwiches for Aunt Augusta? Yes, sir. Good. Also, Lane, I see that you entered in the books that last week, when Mr. Shawman and Mr. Worthing were dining with us, 8 bottles of champagne were consumed.
8 bottles and a pint.
Now, tell me, why is it that at a bachelor's establishment, the servants drink the champagne?
I attribute it to the superior quality of the wine, sir. I have often observed that in married households, the champagne is rarely of a first-rate brand.
Good heavens! Is marriage so demoralizing as that?
I believe it is a very pleasant state, sir. I've had very little experience of it myself up to the present. I have only been married once, and that was in consequence of a misunderstanding between myself and a young person.
I really am not interested in your personal life, Lane.
No, sir, it is not very interesting at all. I never think of it myself.
Thank you, Lane. That will do.
Thank you, sir.
Lane's views on marriage seem somewhat lax. Really, if the lower orders don't set us a good example, of what use are they? They seem, as a social class, to have absolutely no sense of moral responsibility.
Mr. Ernest Worthing.
Ernest, my dear fellow, what brings you up to town?
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. What should bring anyone else up to town? Eating as usual, I see, Algy.
I believe it is customary in good society to take some slight refreshment at 5 o'clock. Where have you been since last Thursday?
Oh, I've been in the country.
Good heavens, what do you do there?
When one is in town, one amuses oneself, but when one is in the country, one amuses others. It is excessively boring.
And who are these people that you amuse?
Oh, neighbours, neighbours.
Got nice neighbours in your part of Shropshire?
Oh, perfectly horrid, and never speak to one of them.
And how immensely you must amuse them. Shropshire is your county, is it not?
Oh, yes, hello. Why all the cups? Well, the cucumber sandwiches. Why such reckless extravagance in one so young? Who's coming to tea, Algy?
Oh, merely Aunt Augusta and Gwendolen.
How perfectly delightful.
But I'm afraid Aunt Augusta won't quite approve of your being here.
Why?
My dear boy, it is perfectly shameless the way that you flirt with Gwendolen. It is almost as bad the way she flirts with you.
But I am in love with Gwendolen. I've come up to town expressly to propose to her.
I thought you said you came up to town for pleasure. I call that business.
How utterly unromantic you are.
I really don't see anything romantic about a definite proposal. The entire essence of love is uncertainty. I shall try to forget the fact if ever I get married.
And I shall remember that. The divorce court was created for people whose memories are so curiously constituted.
Divorces are made in heaven. Cucumber sandwiches! Especially for Aunt Augusta.
But you have been eating them the whole time.
She is my aunt. That is quite a different matter. Here. Have some bread and butter. Gwendolen is devoted to bread and butter.
And perfectly good bread and butter it is, too.
You know, you need not eat it as if you were going to eat it at all. You act as if you were already married to Gwendolen. And I fear you never will be.
Now, why do you say that?
Well, women never marry the men they flirt with. They don't think it right.
Oh, that is nonsense.
It isn't. It is the reason we see so many bachelors on the streets. And secondly, I don't give you my consent.
Oh, your consent.
Gwendolen is my first cousin, and before I allow you to marry her, we are going to have to clear up this whole thing about Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth, Algy, do you mean by Cecily? I don't recall knowing anyone by the name of Cecily.
Lane! Bring me the cigarette case that Mr. Worthing left here last week in the smoking room.
Yes, sir.
You mean to tell me you've had my cigarette case the entire time and you hadn't told me? I've been frantically writing letters to Scotland Yard about it. I was very nearly offering a large reward.
Oh, I wish that you would. I'm quite low on money right now.
There is no use in offering a reward now that the thing is found.
Oh, I think that's rather mean of you, Ernest. But now that I read the inscription on the inside, I find that this isn't yours after all.
What do you mean? Of course it's mine. You've seen me with it hundreds of times. And, anyway, it's a very ungentlemanly thing to do, reading the inscription inside a private cigarette case.
You mustn't make a hard and fast rule about what one can and cannot read. All of modern culture depends on what one cannot read.
Oh, and I am quite aware of that, but I don't propose to discuss modern culture. It's not the sort of thing that people discuss in private. I simply want my cigarette case back.
Ah, but this is not your cigarette case. This cigarette case is a gift from someone of the name of Cecily, and you said, I don't know anyone of the name of Cecily.
Well, if you must know, Cecily is my aunt. She's my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, charming old lady she is too. Lives at Tunbridge Wells. Can I please have the thing back now?
No. Now, why does your aunt call herself Cecily? Look, from little Cecily with her fondest love.
Algy, some aunts are tall, some aunts are not tall. That is a matter that surely an aunt may be able to decide for herself. You seem to think that every aunt should be like yours. It is absurd.
Yes, but answer me this. Why does your aunt call you her uncle? There is no objection, I guess, because being a small aunt, but why an aunt, no matter what her size may be, should call her nephew her uncle? I can't quite make out. Besides, your name isn't Jack Lord, it's Ernest.
It isn't Ernest, it's Jack.
You have always told me it was Ernest. I have introduced you to everyone as Ernest. You answered to the name Ernest. You look as if your name was Ernest. You're the most earnest-looking person I've ever seen in my life. It is perfectly absurd you're saying that your name isn't Ernest. It's either on your cards. Mr. Ernest Worthing, before the Albany. I shall keep this as proof should you ever try to deny that your name is Ernest to me, to Gwendolyn, or to anyone else.
Well, my name is Ernest, in town, and Jack in the country. And the cigarette case was given to me in the country.
But that does not account for your aunt calling you her uncle.
Algy, you talk as if you're a, dentist. It is very rude to talk like a dentist when you aren't one. It produces a false impression.
That is exactly what dentists do! Dear boy, tell me, why are you Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
Produce my cigarette case first.
Here. Now, make an explanation and pray make it improbable.
The explanation is not improbable at all. I am sure that you will find it perfectly ordinary. The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a young boy, in his will made me guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew. Now, Cecily, who calls me uncle out of motives of pure respect that you could never understand, lives at my place in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prism.
Where is that place in the country, by the way?
Oh, you don't need to worry about that. I'll make sure that you are never invited. I can assure you it's not in Shropshire.
I guess as much. Now, tell me, why are you Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
Algy, when one is placed in a position of guardian, one must adopt a very high moral tone on all subjects. Now, seeing as that isn't very good for one's health or happiness, I have created a younger brother named Ernest, who lives in the Albany and gets into the most dreadful of scrapes. That is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. What you are is a Bunburyist.
What on earth do you mean by that?
Well, you have created a younger brother named Ernest, so that you may come up to town as often as you like. I, on the other hand, have created a very useful invalid friend named Bunbury, who I use so that I may go up to the country as often as I like. He is also the reason that I can dine with you at Willis's tonight.
I haven't invited you to dine with me anywhere tonight.
Oh, I know you are terribly careless about sending out invitations. It's very ill-mentioned of you.
You had much better dine with your Aunt Augusta.
Yeah, I will do nothing of the sort.
Look, I'm not a Bunburyist at all. In fact, I think I'm going to get rid of my brother Ernest. Cecily's a bit too interested in him. It is rather a bore, and I suggest you do the same with your invalid friend with the absurd name.
Nothing will induce me to part with Bunbury. Any man who gets married without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time.
If I marry a simple, charming girl like Gwendolyn, then I won't want to know Bunbury.
Aha! But Gwendolyn will! Dear boy, you seem to miss the point. In married life, 3 is company and 2 is none. That must be Aunt Augusta and Gwendolyn. Only relatives talk that vigorously. If I distract Aunt Augusta long enough so that you may propose to Gwendolyn, will you dine with me tonight at Willis's?
I suppose so, if you want.
You're not lying, are you? I hate it when people lie about me as it's right.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, dear Algernon. I hope you are behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well, Auntie Augusta.
That is not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, Gwendolyn, you are smart.
I am always smart. Aren't I, Mr. Worthing?
You are quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I hope I am not that. It will leave no room for developments, and I intend to develop in many directions.